Bro, there was like a moment that happened like 2 weeks ago, and it kind of charged me up. You know, like I feel like I'm catching the itch again.
Yeah.
From like a competitive standpoint. Now, obviously, I can't stream the number of hours that Symphony does. Right? He's in the basement every morning at 4 o'clock, streaming 8 hours a day, sometimes longer, and he's so fucking good.
Yeah.
And he was having a conversation, I think, with Huskers about who they should team with for this next Warzone tournament. They needed to find somebody, and they asked Cloak, and he couldn't, or I forget the exact situation. And my entire chat's like, "Why don't you play with them? You play with them. You play with them." So I mute my mic. I'm like, "Hey, just so y'all know, first of all, I know Symphony and Huskers. They have won tournaments before. They're really good. And if they don't ask me, I'm not going to ask them. Yeah. You know, like if they're playing with me right now, having this conversation in front of me, it's clearly because they don't think I'm good enough to play with them. And that shit, I think, really motivated me because I know I'm a good Warzone player. And I enjoy streaming it, which is the best part, and which is why I brought it up. Because now, after playing a few tournaments and seeing like what it takes to actually win, I'm not going to claim that I'm the best Warzone player. And there's a lot of these kids that play wagers all day, and it kind of reminds me of like the S&D community, right? Because pro players would scrim all day, and they were considered the best players from what people saw. But there were some really talented S&D kids that just grinded, and that's all they did, and that's why they were so good at it. And that Warzone has the same thing. It's like you have this genre of player that they're not in the CDL, but they're really fucking good. So it's always going to be tough to play against those guys just because they spend so many hours doing this, and I don't. Yeah. But I feel like if I spend my time wisely enough, I could be really, really good. Yeah. Like take it to the next level of Warzone. Yeah. So I want to start playing more of these tournaments. And the best part of it is I get to stream.
Keyboard or controller?
No, I went to controller.
You went back to controller?
My KD went up like 1.75 when I switched back. And I thought I was pretty good at keyboard and mouse. Yeah. Not as good as Symphony and Huskers though. And so controller just changed. It's really just a movement thing. I mean, you can aim just fine on keyboard and mouse. But the other thing is it's the close range gunfights that fuck you up. Close to mid range. Yeah. Because if this tripod in front of me was somebody that I need to shoot in Warzone, with aim assist and a controller, I've done it my whole life. That's a kill. Yeah. 10 out of 10 times. Yeah. But on PC with a keyboard and mouse, I might miss a shot or two, and you don't realize how substantial that is. And that one bullet or two that you miss against a good player, you're going to die. Yeah. So I had to go back to controller. Yeah. I'm cracked now.
Yeah. So speaking of Warzone keyboard players and that, there's obviously a rumor that Call of Duty might be going back to 4v4. You know, that's who knows, right? Like they don't even tell us, right? Or they haven't told us whether it is or it isn't. Do you think that there is going to be a time in which crossplay is a thing? Could it be viable?
I don't know if I just answer this one.
Why?
Well, I signed like NDAs in the process of talking about the Call of Duty League. Do I think it could be viable? I mean, yeah. I don't know how it would play out though, right? Because I think controller players, from an aim assist perspective, you even seen it in Fortnite, where PC players claim that aim assist was so strong on Fortnite that it had to be nerfed, and you couldn't even compete. Mm-hmm. Like controller players were just going to win. I think when you go back and look at like the genesis of competitive Call of Duty, it started with Pro Mod. And I mean, some of the things that these guys would do, and in Warzone is a great example now, some of these PC players, what they can do is absolutely ridiculous. Insane, yeah. So I think it would be viable. I just have a hard time really honing in on who would be better.
Me too.
I think the controller players would still come out on top.
I do too. A lot of people say, obviously, look, from an aim perspective, like nobody's talking trash about the ability for some PC player to aim better than some pros that play on a controller. But it isn't going to be as easy as just like jumping in and doing, like it's a whole process, right? Like a respawn, for example, to learn where to throw a nade to block the spawn, to know where the next spawn is coming in. Like that's not something that people like necessarily do. If you think about what sort of shooters are there besides Overwatch, what other shooters out there that have like a respawn game mode?
No, but good players will learn that really quickly. I mean,
you think?
You don't have to be the brightest star in the sky to figure out spawns. Like that just comes with playing. What I think it comes down to is Call of Duty, competitive Call of Duty, does not take these snapshot reactions, right? Like that, I think general players, that hop on for a couple hours after work. And people talk to me like, "Hey, what sensitivity you play on?" Just people that are friends and trying to figure out, well, how do you do this? How do you play as well as you do? And they're all playing on these fast ass sensitivities, right? I mean, even like snipers back in the day for like that were making montages, they're playing like 10-10, maxed out. I would argue
16.
that 85% of the pro players are on like 5.5 or 6.6 or below. Like you don't need a fast sensitivity to be good at Call of Duty. It's really about, like you said, understanding spawns, knowing where players can be and when they're going to be, and understanding tendencies. And you don't need these snapshot reactions. So from a competitive standpoint on these small maps, I mean, aiming comes down to, fractions of seconds, but the best players, I think it's like 75%. No, I would say it's like 50% aim and then 50% of just awareness. Just awareness on the map. So even if you are on PC, it's really just going to come down to how smart of a player you are.
Yeah.
Because everyone can aim.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, when you're a streamer...
Except
you're
fucking me, apparently.
What? No, you don't play enough. That's what I keep telling myself. I don't play enough. That's why I lost that gunfight. You know what I mean? Like, the only reason Hutch is getting more kills is because he's on every single fucking day, shooting more than I am. If I get my reps in, if I play at least even fucking 4 hours a day, Hutch is going back to where he belongs. Follow me, Hutch. I'm not following you no more. Hold this pocket, my dude.
Hold my pocket.